Start.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Hello all, welcome to another session of SQL training. So in the last class, we covered these topics like order by and some scenarios of order by case. And last week, we did not have any class. So let's move to, so we'll be discussing first some scenarios of order by case and then we'll move forward with another topics. We're going so slow, so I will try to cover those topics. Okay. We'll just create the table and then proceed with our class. Any doubt in the last class? Have you guys gone through the recordings? Hope you have gone through the recording. Okay. So we'll cover these topics now. So in the last class, what we saw that we can order by based on one column, and then we can also order by with multiple columns. If we have some similarity on some particular column, then we can just mention the second column and then it will sort the result based on the second column. And then we covered the order by case statement. What does order by case statement tells? That, okay, let me just explain this once again. So what we saw, that when you are trying to select something from a table, employee, and in selecting or in the result set, you want some order, you want some sorting. So there you can use order by, and when you have some specific requirement that you want HR records to be at the top, or John, uh, like the person whose name is John, to be at the top positions, then we use order by case statement. There you need to mention order by case and then just mention when. Let's go with department, or let's go with name only, when name is equal to John. So what we can do, then one, else two, and then end. So this is like a full syntax of order by case. You need to mention, like post order by case, you can mention when name is equal to whatever condition you are putting. So here I'm putting when name is equal to John. So it will search for John name first, and then what it will see, okay, user wants me to put that name on the top just because you mentioned one here. And then you are saying that, okay, keep everything in the second bucket. So then it will keep all the other records apart from this John in other bucket, and then it will just sort that on the same order. So this is a complete, like you can say, a block of code. So you need to mention end after this else statement. Then only it will be completed. Okay, let's execute this. Now see the results. See, we have John at the top, and then we have all other records. Okay. Second, I will go to Excel and then I'll just you guys have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, I will just fetch the employee. details, keep it at the top. Fine. So this is our table employee, and this result set we have got the below one. We have got once we executed order by case when John is equal to order by case when it is John, then put that on the first row. Okay. Now here you may be confused because again in the first table itself John is at the top. Okay. Let me write some other query and then we'll explain. Okay. Let's see order by name is equal to Akbar. Let's say Akbar. Okay. Then you'll see that Akbar you will be getting at the top and all other records below that. Hope it is clear. See.
Yes, sorry for the interrupt.
Mhm.
Come to the Excel sheet. I see the Pooja have came, the IT department came at the last and Priya came at the third. Like department also gets changed, like HR.
No, no, no. So what we have done, we have sorted based on the name column, right? So it will just search for that particular name itself. See what we are doing here. And just see. Okay. So what you are mentioning here that okay, I want everything from the employees table, but I want a sorting based on that. And in order by case, you have mentioned that scenario that okay, when name is equal to Akbar. So in the whole record, it will search for the name in the name column Akbar. And wherever it will find Akbar, it will keep that thing in the bucket one. So once you're mentioning then one else two, it will create two bucket. Okay. So we'll create two bucket one and bucket two. So what it will do, so when name is equal to Akbar, so Akbar it will keep in the bucket one. And then what you mentioned, then one else two. Then you are saying whatever other records apart from Akbar is present in this table, keep it in bucket two. So it will keep all other things in bucket two, right? And then you are asking the SQL engine to display those data. Then it will first display Akbar. Just because you have mentioned that I want Akbar at the top and rest all details below that. Even it will not care like what other details are present. Just it will see that okay, it will search for Akbar and wherever it will find Akbar, it will keep that on the top positions and then rest other records below that. Is it clear or you have any confusion?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Again, let's see. Suppose you want a sorting based on the department column. Then you have to mention something like, okay, I want the details with HR, like HR department at the top position and rest all department records below that. So then you have to just mention that. Okay. I'll show you as an example. Mention when department is equal to HR, then one else to and C. You'll see all the records with department column at the top position. See, and then all other records below that. Second. Okay. See everything with HR as department is at the top position and rest everything is below that. Even it is not maintaining any other order in other records. See, just because it doesn't care what other details are present. It is only caring about the HR department, and then it is keeping only those records at the top, and then rest other records just below that. No other condition you have put, so it is not considering about other conditions. But suppose in this scenario, yeah, in our last class we have not covered all the scenarios, so just for that I am covering these topics again. Okay, but it is recommended to go through the and watch the videos post the class or before the next class. Okay, now suppose in your record or in your table what you want. Okay, so this is our main table, employee. What you want the HR department record at the top position, but you also have a condition that after HR you want finance. Okay, you want all the records of finance. Suppose these three records, you want these two records to be displayed in the table, and then you don't care about other records. So whatever records apart from HR and finance, it will come in the third bucket and it will be displayed at the last. So that is your condition, that is your requirement. Then in that case, what you need to do is in your query, you have to mention that. Okay, that when, see, in the first condition what you have mentioned, when department is equal to HR, then 1, else 2. So now the order by case block has ended here, but you want to add one more condition. What is the condition? Let's remove this end block. When department is equal to finance. Okay, then just mention 2, else 3, then you have to mention end. Unless you mention end keyword, the order by case statement block will not end. Okay, now see, you will find all the records with HR department at the top, and then post that you'll get finance record below that, and then all other records will be present. Let's see. Okay, hope it is clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, fine. Again, you have a scenario. Okay, I will just copy it here. Okay, we have a third scenario here. That now what is your requirement is that correct. So now your requirement is, okay, I want everything. I mean, wherever I'm finding the department with HR, I want that to be at the top position, but I also want that to be sorted based on the name column. Okay, if you see the name column, it has not been sorted. If you are doing sorting based on the ascending order, then Akbar should come at the first, and then you would get John and then Priya. Because ordering or sorting is done based on the dictionary order, okay, or alphabetical order, you can say. So now you have that condition that you want this condition as well, and apart from that, you want the name to be displayed in ascending order. So then you have a third scenario, and there you need to mention it here that okay, I want everything in the same order, but I want it is to be displayed in ascending order. Okay, so any idea on this one? Okay, what should I write in that case? We have covered ascending and descending order, and we have covered the ordered sorting methods. But in this order by case statement, I just want to order the name column. I mean, including these conditions, I want the name columns to be displayed in ascending order. So for that, what scenario or what condition I should add in our query? Okay. Okay, let's go. So when you have that condition that you want everything in the sorting order, then you can mention, apart from this condition, you just need to mention after end, you can mention name, just because you want the name column to be sorted. And in what order you want the name column to be sorted? In ascending. So even if you can write ascending or you do not write, it doesn't matter, because ascending is by default. Now let's see. Let's execute this and see. See, if you can see, the whole result set has been ordered in that order, in an alphabetical order based on name column. So you also have this condition, like when HR is at the top, when HR department is there, then keep at the top, and when finance is there, keep at the second. Keep those records at the second place, like post HR, and then also sort the name column in ascending order. Then all these records have been sorted in ascending order. Any question till here?
No questions.
Fine. We'll move forward then. So order by case scenarios are completed. Even like in future topics, we'll again cover these topics once, including those new scenarios and new keywords. Okay. Again, if you want to just sort it based on descending order, then you can mention here descending. That is fine. That will also work. Yeah, one thing we missed, that okay, now it is ordering based on the department. Like when HR is, when department has HR, then it is keeping those records at the top position. But why it is doing so? So if you understand from the engine perspective, then see here I have mentioned 1, fine, and then here I have mentioned 2. So can we write any other value in place of 1 and 2? Yes, we can. So these 1 and 2 is not a fixed value. We can write any value. But if you want the HR to be at the first, then your second value should be less than this value. Okay, let's see. Suppose I'm just, okay, have I added the value? Yes. Suppose I'm just interchanging the values here. Okay, I'll just mention here 2. Okay. Any lag I'm getting? Yes. Fine. So what I mentioned that when department is equal to HR, then 2, and when department is equal to finance, then 1, and then else 3. So you can understand here that what we were doing. From the bucket scenario, you can understand what it will do. Okay. So it will keep everything even if you are going through the lectures, you can explain these things to yourself and then you'll be able to understand it. Okay. Now what you want that when department is equal to HR, then keep it at bucket 2. And these things wherever HR, so these records will be kept in bucket 2. And then you have bucket 1 and you have bucket 3. What you have mentioned that when department is equal to finance, then keep it at bucket 3. Sorry, bucket 1. Then mention you'll keep these records in bucket 1. And then you don't care what other records are present, but keep it all other records in the bucket 3. So you have these 2 records apart from HR and finance, then we will keep it in bucket 3. Fine. Now we have mentioned that okay, what I want that when department is equal to HR, you mentioned then 2. So this is in bucket 2. And when it is finance, then this these department or these records are in bucket 1. And you have not mentioned anything post end. Right? So it will automatically understand that okay, user wants me to get these details in ascending order. So that's why you were getting every records like when it was 1, so those records were you were getting at the top position because it was actually ordering in ascending order. But once you execute these two, see now you will get finance just because you have mentioned 1 in the finance. Did I mention anything else? Yes. Okay, see. Now the records having department as finance is coming at the top position. And then post that we have HR and then IT. Why so many records? Did we inserted some more records? Okay, let's draw the table once again. I think by mistake we inserted some more records. Keep this. Fine. We just draw this. Okay, so we have drawn the table. Yeah, let's execute this. Let's see. So all other records having finance with department is at the top and then post that we have HR and then post that we have IT. So it is actually ordering those conditions in ascending order. Fine. Here you can mention any value. No limit is there. Okay. But if this value is less than this value, then you will get these like wherever department is HR at the top, and then you will be getting these values. Right? Let's see. Again, you'll be getting. So in this scenario, what you will get? Because this 999 is bigger than all these values 1 and 3. So see, the HR is at the last position. So it is actually ordering based on that number. Fine. Hope these things are clear. If you have any confusion, we'll discuss in another class as well. But as of now, let's move to new topics. So let's keep it here. So now suppose we have a condition. So we have this table, employee table, and here you have a condition that you want to fetch only those records who are from department finance, who are from the finance department. You only want to fetch the names or the details of those employee from finance department. Then what you can do in that case, you just need to mention, okay, I think I have covered this. See, star from employee where department is equal to, what you need to mention, finance. Then you all is already used. It's giving me that. Okay, I'm not selecting it. Fine. My mistake. Second. Okay. Now you will see the records where department is equal to finance. So this where comes, the work of where is to filter out the thing. So it is only filtering the values. Like wherever it is department, it is just giving you those details. But along with that, suppose you have one more condition. Okay, I want the finance records as well, but along with that, I also want to know that who else is working in the IT department. Then you just need to mention, okay, or why or why not? Okay, so we have, okay, let's cover this one first, then I will explain. Where department is equal to IT. Again, I have executed. So I have a habit of executing these things in Oracle Live. Oracle skill platform. That's why I'm just executing those things. Okay, I need to actually. So in this Oracle Live SQL, you need to select the thing and then you need to press run. Okay, just let me execute this. Okay, select a star from employee where department is equal to finance or department is equal to IT. So what it will do, it will search for department finance. Okay, so wherever it will find finance as a department, it will just select those records and then it will see that, okay, user is putting another condition that wherever it is IT or records having IT as a department, he also wants to fetch those records as well. So then it will select those records as well and just it will display you as a output. So it is displaying those things in the output. But what I was asking that why we have this two keyword or and. Okay, so you need to understand that when you need to use or and when you can use and. Explain this one. So what was our requirement here? That fine. So why we have written or? Why not and? Because the first condition we have put in the filter condition in the where clause is department is equal to finance. And the first condition department is equal to finance is not dependent on the second condition. Or is not dependent on anything. But and says that okay, whatever condition you are putting, the first condition, like if you're putting and between two conditions, okay, suppose you're putting condition 1 and then you have condition 2 and then you're putting and in between, and what does and represent is whenever both the condition will satisfy, then only it will display the record. So both the condition is actually dependent on one another. But in case of or, the conditions are not dependent. So if you have some scenario or if you have some requirement in which the conditions are not dependent upon one another, then you need to mention or else you can mention and. So in our query, what was our requirement? Our requirement is we want the record with department finance and department with IT. So you want both the records. But suppose you have a condition that, okay, I want the records with department as finance and when name is equal to John. So then you need to mention that and condition. What you need to mention it here? You need to mention and. Why? Because your condition 1, like department is equal to finance, is dependent upon the second condition. Or even you can say the condition 2 you are putting or you have is dependent upon the first condition when name is equal to John. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so just tell me, will this query will give us any result? See what it will do. It will search for the department finance. So we have two records with finance, these two, right? These two records with finance column. Let's see. Let me display it here. Okay. These two records we have with finance as a department. And then it will check. Okay, first condition is check if department is equal to finance is present in our table or not. So it will search for the finance in this department column. And then it will see, okay, we have two records with finance. Then engine will see that, okay, user has put some other condition as well. And when it will see that and, then it will understand, okay, the first condition is dependent upon the second condition. Then it will check that, okay, Within these two records, do we have name is equal to John? No,
No.
right? Yes. So we have only Smith and Charlie who is working in the finance department. So this query will not give any result. Let's execute this and see the result. See, no data found. Why? Because we do not have any record with name is equal to John and department is equal to finance. So both the conditions should satisfy in case of and. Okay, but in case of or, like your condition one is not dependent upon another condition. So that's why we were getting both the records. Like wherever it is finance and wherever it is IT as a department, it was displaying both the records. So if you can understand from the daily life, so just say that you have a company, okay, in which we have applied for selection, okay, and that company have is taking aptitude test, and then post that that company is taking coding round, and post that it has interview. So suppose some 500 student has applied. So those all the 500 student will appear in the aptitude test, right? But only those students, so suppose they have put a condition that, okay, those students who will clear the aptitude test, only those students can appear in coding round. And if they will clear the coding round, then he can appear in interview. Then out of this 500, only 200 students was able to clear the aptitude test. Then can you say that the whole 500 will sit for the coding round? No, right? Only those who will clear. So there is a condition dependent on these conditions. Okay, so only these 200 will appear in the coding round. It is like a dependent scenario. Then suppose 200 students appeared for coding round, and among them only 50 cleared the coding round. Then only these 50 students will appear for interview, not the whole 200, because they have a condition like condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and if the condition satisfies, then only they will appear for another, like they will go in what you can say, another round. Okay, but if they are failing in the first condition itself, so here what we were discussing, that when department is equal to finance, see in the first condition only these two, these like department with HR, department with IT has failed, so those records were not selected. So the same scenario happens here, that those 300 students who will fail the aptitude test, they can't appear in the coding round. So only these 200 students will appear in the coding round, and post this coding round, like they will appear for the coding round, and then you have a condition that, okay, those who will clear the coding round, then he can appear for the interview. So only this 50 students will appear for the interview round. So you can say these all the three conditions are dependent upon one another. Okay, so even here you can mention another condition as well, that, okay, you want, suppose let's say where name is equal to, put a condition which is satisfying. Okay, the name is equal to Smith. Fine. So you have got this one record, right? Matching with these conditions, like when department is equal to finance and name is equal to Smith. Now you have put a third condition here that okay, and salary, or yeah, let's say salary greater than 10 lakhs. Okay, 10 lakhs or 1 lakh? 1 lakh. Okay, you have this third condition that where salary is equal to, like, it will check what it will do. It will check for condition 1, that is where department is equal to finance. Then it will check for condition 2, and condition 2 is dependent upon condition 1. Then after these two conditions, whatever result you will get, those conditions will be checked with condition, like those records or those scenario will be checked with condition 3. So now, like, once you'll execute this query, this will also not give you any result because the salary is 60,000. Like if you just want to see the record, see in this scenario we have a limited record. Here we can identify by manually as well. But when you have millions of records, then there you can't identify, or there you don't have time to see or check for all the records. But you want that thing to be displayed over here. Suppose your company is doing some layoff and he is saying that okay, check for those employees whose salary is more than 2 lakh. Then you want the data. The finance department will check, and the finance department will check for those employees whose salary is greater than 2 lakhs. And then it will give you those results, like whatever data to the CU. And then it will check that okay, these employees are needed or not. It will do a requirement analysis, post there in their department, and then it will lay off those employees. So those conditions are put. So any scenarios can come like that. So I have just explained or give you some scenarios here. Okay. Hope this or and is clear. Okay. Any doubt in these topics?
No doubts.
Okay. You want me to try or test some other scenario? Or everything is
Yes.
clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Fine. So or and is clear. We'll move to another topics. We're going so slow. Let's forward. So in the SQL, you can say that in case of suppose in your data, someone what I was doing here. See, while executing this query, by mistake I have executed. I have not selected these things and just have executed it. So these records were getting inserted. Fine. So now, so suppose okay, we have this employees table with around how many records? 7 rows. Okay, 7 records. Now by mistake, I've inserted these records again. Again it will be inserted. It will not give any error while inserting. Okay. Now if you'll see this table, so now there will be something around 14 records, because by mistake you have inserted these records here 2 times. So now you can see you have 14 records in your table. But this is a bad data, right? This should not be there. All the records are duplicate. So in that case, you have a keyword. So you want to filter the distinct record. So you have a keyword called distinct record. Okay, that will give you the unique record present. It will not give you the duplicate value. So once you are writing select a star from employees, it was giving you the duplicate result, right? But if you're mentioning select distinct, okay, ID. See, this distinct works only on some specific column. Here it will not work. Okay, let me show you. Okay, let's understand this one first. See, distinct ID. So if you see here that the IDs are duplicated, you'll find 1 2 times, 2 2 times, 3 times, 2 times. So all the records are duplicate. So once you mention select distinct ID from the table name is employees, okay, then only the distinct ID, only the unique ID will be fetched. See, only 7 rows selected because only 7 values are unique. Apart from this, all other values are unique. So 1 was repeated, 2 was repeated, 3 was repeated, all value was repeated. So it was duplicate, you can see. If you want all the records, so you can mention here ID name, department, salary. See, all the records you will get. And these are the distinct values, unique records you will get. So this distinct keyword is used to fetch the unique record. But this is like a very costly keyword. But if costly means like it will take much time to analyze and then it will give you the result. So that's why like wherever it's needed, then only use this distinct keyword. If it is not needed, then do not use the distinct keyword anywhere. Okay, or you can even like you can remove the bad data from your table as well. That requirement also comes in the project, that if you have duplicate values, you can remove those duplicate values. So just remove those duplicate values. We'll cover those things as well in our coming lectures. So those are, once you'll cover count and those topics group by, then we'll cover like how to remove or how to find the duplicate records. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Select distinct after we have selected the particular row name, column name. Instead of that, we can select the whole table name and it will remove the duplicate. Will it?
Whole table name. No, I didn't get you.
Like suppose we have put an ID a name, instead of that, if we mention the table name, we
Table
can remove the
name, where you want to mention table name? Table name is there, right? Employees.
duplicate. Like I'm telling, like we have to mention, like if we want to remove the duplicates, we need to mention the particular column only. Or instead of that, we can mention the whole table, then it will remove the whole duplicate.
No. So removing the duplicate is another topic. So those things we have not covered yet. Okay. So here we'll cover those topics in the coming lectures. So for that, you need to know some other topics like count, group by, then only removing and those topics we can cover. Now, if I will explain, then you'll get confused. I'm not removing this one. Okay. I'm not removing from the table. So once I'm executing this one, it is only displaying me the distinct record. But in your table, if you see, is still those columns are present. I was telling removing, so it means you are removing the data from the table itself, not in displaying. So this distinct works only with displaying, like when you want to display those unique records, then only it will work. It will only display you as an output. It will display you the unique records. But even in your table, those duplicate records will be present. But it will not show you the duplicate records. So
Okay,
that
now
is,
I understand.
yes, that is the use of distinct. Okay. What I was saying, let's see this. See, distinct of star. So what it is doing? So it is mentioning, like it is using the distinct in all the columns. Here what we were doing, we were writing distinct just on one column. But once you are mentioning distinct star, then it is putting distinct like unique records and it is applying for all the columns. Okay, let's see. Let's say, okay, let me draw this table first. Let's say that we have Priya repeated 2 times, but the ID is different. ID is 8. People have created a table. Now what I will do, now in this record, times this. Okay. So what this will do, okay. So this is our table, employee table, fine. Now in this table, you can see that Priya is repeated 2 times. So if you are mentioning, when you are mentioning select name from employer, let's understand with one column itself, then it will display you all the name. Like this, all the rows will be displayed. Since you are mentioning select name from employer. Let's see that as well. Right? See, all the records have been displayed. Priya is coming 2 times. But once you are mentioning distinct, in the name column, then it will not display Priya twice in the result set. So you are getting Priya only once in your query, in your output. Fine. Any confusion here? See, so once you're mentioning distinct of Priya, or sorry, distinct of name, then it is displayed only once, because you are mentioning, you are saying the SQL engine that I don't want the duplicate record. Once you are writing distinct, so it says to the SQL engine that I don't want this unique, sorry, duplicate records. I only want the unique record for the name column. So it will just search for the all the unique records from this name column, and then it will display you. But once you're writing distinct of a star, so what it will see that, okay, see in this table, if you see that, okay, Priya is twice mentioned in the name column, but the both the Priya is not same. We can have two Priyas, right? The name can be same for other two persons. So both the Priya is not same. See, one Priya having ID 7 and one Priya having ID 8. So like there are two Priya in the HR department with same salary. But two persons are there with name Priya working in HR department having same salary. But once you are writing distinct of name, it is removing one Priya, right? Removing one record itself. So whenever you are using distinct, just check the requirement and then only use, like, what is your requirement? Because here, once if you will display these data to the client, then this will not be the correct data, right? So then you need to mention it here, that distinct of a star, or distinct of ID. Even if you write ID, so all the records will come. Distinct of star. So now it will see that, okay, let's see the out, let's copy the output. So what this will do, this will check for all the columns. It is not checking only for Priya. Okay, it is not checking only for Priya, like only for the name column. It is checking for all the columns. Can you say this Priya and this Priya are same? No, right? Both are different. Once you are seeing these data as a whole, if you're just seeing the name column itself, then you can say that, okay, both, like Priya is mentioned twice in the name column. So maybe this data is duplicate. But you can't be sure that, okay, this data or this name Priya is duplicate in our table. You need to see other records or other columns as well, right? So for that, okay, you can see, no, it's not duplicate. Both Priya is different, or both the records are different. So distinct of a star or distinct of multiple columns does the same thing. It will check for all the records. Like even if you are checking, it will check for ID2, then Smith, then finance, then 60,000. If all these records with ID2 is matching somewhere, then it will, suppose you have one more record with ID2, Smith Finance 60,000. Then it will just remove this record from the output because you have used distinct of a star, so it will see all the columns. Hope this is clear. Any doubt in this topic? Fine. We'll move forward. Okay, we have covered or and distinct. Now let's understand the difference between null, blank, okay, and zero. So this difference you must know whenever you are learning SQL. Okay, difference between null, blank, and zero. So what you can say that, okay, there are three persons, you can say ID and their transactions. Say there are three persons and these three person with ID 123 is studying in a college and they have gone to the accounts department to submit their fee. Fine. So this ID column, suppose the first person has got loan from the government. So he don't have to pay anything to the uh, college. The government directly pays him, pays to the college. So what he will do? He will go to the accounts department and he will not pay anything, right? But he wanted later, like he want something like, okay, my fees has been submitted. He want that confirmation. So he will not be paying anything. So the payment done by him is like zero. He has not paid anything. But his transaction is completed just because the government has paid. He has not paid. Just because he has got some scholarship or loan from the government and the government is taking care of his studies. Okay, government is paying for all the semester fees. So he has not paid anything to the college. But there is some other person who went to the college in the accounts department and he wants to pay his fees. Suppose he has some, what you can say, some 50,000 rupees due that he has to pay. So he went to the account department. He tells that, okay, I want to pay my fees. So he has done his transactions. But this data, like whatever fees he has paid, the payment done by him is in pending state. Like the college or the account department has not received that payment yet. One, when you are using UPI or when you are doing transactions through UPI, several times this happens, right? That your transactions are not completed. It is showing pending. And even the accounts department doesn't know that, okay, how much the student is paying me. He has told that, okay, 50,000 is due. So you need to pay 50,000, but maybe the student is only paying 25,000 this time, and he will say that, okay, the rest amount I will pay later. So the account department doesn't know that, okay, what amount he is paying unless that transaction is completed. So the transaction is not completed yet. So that is like a null thing. You don't know what has happened with the data. Okay. Then this null comes into picture. Once you'll get that data, it will enter that thing, enter the transaction amount, whatever transaction is done. But till now, the accounts department doesn't know that how much transaction he has done. So that is like a null. So null is, to understand null, like null is very important. Everywhere in your question, even in your interview question, in your coding round, you'll get questions having null as a record. So null is asked several types of questions. Even in join, they will give some scenarios with null as a record. Okay. So you need to understand that what is this null. So null is nothing but a assumption. It's kind of a assumption. You don't know what has happened. Whether this transactions will be completed or not, that also you don't know. Maybe it will fail. Maybe it will be completed. You don't know the status. But you need to display this data right now to the client. So then you'll mention null. You can't mention 50,000, right? Or you can't mention 25,000 and show it to the client or show it to the college. And the college will say, no, no, we have not received this uh, payment yet. Where is this payment? We'll do the calculation in his account and he'll say that no, why 50,000 is 50,000 is missing in our accounts. So that will not be the correct data. If you are just mentioning 50,000 in this transaction amount or any data if you are mentioning. So for that, sometimes you need to check with your business analyst that what is the requirement in that case. Can we write null or can we write zero? Even if you are writing zero here, then that will also be the wrong result, right? Zero means no transactions done. But he has done some transactions. What is the value of the transaction? You don't know. Whether he has done 10K, 5K, 20K, 50K, or he has paid for the second semester fees as well, like 100K. So there you can't write any data. So that is like null is a kind of assumption. Okay. And this third record, like the blank value. Okay, zero, null is clear. It is blank. Blank is like you are waiting for the transaction. Okay, suppose someone has done the transaction and you know what amount he is paying. Okay, suppose he has a bill of around 200 and he has done the transactions, but he has not received the amount. the customer or the accounts department has not received the payment. So he's actually waiting for the that thing, that transaction, what you can say, yeah, that transaction value. The accounts department is waiting for that transaction value, and then he will mention. Then for both these scenarios, you, like, once you are getting this scenario in the project, then you can ask the scenarios to your business analyst, or these things are documented in the business analyst document as well. Like we say those documents at BRD, business requirement document, or FRD, functional requirement document. So every details are documented there. You need to either revisit those documents, or else if it is not mentioned, you can check with your business analyst. You need to connect with your BA and then check for those things. That okay, what is the client requirement? What I need to do in that case? In some cases, they need to mention, okay, mention minus 999. But in all the cases, like everywhere, you can't mention that. So if you have some requirement, if you're getting some values like this in your project, then always ask why minus here. Why they ask you to write minus 999? Because the transaction amount can't be in minus, right? So that's why they tells that okay, write any minus values. Okay. Any questions? Null, blank, zero, or in any other topics?
No questions.
Fine. So we have covered these things. So let's see a scenario with null. So for that, we have covered. So now I'll be adding those null scenarios as well in our topics. Like whenever I will be covering any topics, let's see a scenario here. I will add a data, or add a record, you can say, in this table, employee table itself. Is it? It's not working. 1 second, let me just keep aside my keyboard. Okay, I will just give salary as null. Right. Fine. Now I will insert, before that, and drop the table. So this duplicate thing we have understood. I will just remove this record. Let me create the table. Fine. Now since we have understand that null, blank, and zero, now in our table we have a record present with null value. Let's see and understand that. So this is our data, and we have the data or like the salary of Pragya is null. Okay. Now, when you are checking these data, then you don't know that how much salary Pragya has got. Why? Because it's not mentioned in this table. So maybe he has got some promotion in the last promotion cycle, or maybe because her performance was down, they have deducted 10% or 5% from his salary. So any scenario can happen. Nowadays, can like these scenarios are happening in the market. The companies are doing these things. They're even cutting 10%, 5% from the current salary as well. Okay, so you don't know what has happened with Pragya salary. So, but in the data, suppose you are working in some XYZ company, which is a service based company. Okay. And all these persons are working for a particular client. Okay. Suppose they are working for some client ZX. And when the client tells that, okay, I want the information that how much amount you are paying to your employee. So these things are actually not displayed to the client. Why? Because the service based company, second, so ZX is a company client. Yeah. So XYZ is a service based company, and this ZX is a client. Right? So now the client tells that, okay, give me those data or give me the employees data. One second, what? Same it. Fine. So these are like the employees who is working in the XYZ service based company and working for same client. Like all these employees are working for same client ZX. Now the client tells that, okay, I want the information of all the employees and their salary. But the service based company doesn't show the actual salary, right? Because that is their profit. They will show some salary, like some false salary they are paid, and that salary they will demand from the client. That, okay, I'm paying some 10 lakh or 1 lakh in place of this 50,000, they will show to the client. And then these records they will be showing to the client salary, you can say. And they will ask the client to pay this for each employee. But for Pragya, for here he will see that, okay, for Pragya it is mentioned null. So what I need to show? So here there will be a confusion in the data. So what you can do in that case, that, okay, what I can do, because they have some calculation, something around that, okay, I'm demanding 2x of the salary paid to the employee. So if it is 60,000, then here it should be 120. So I'm demanding 1,20,000 from the client, and then I'm paying 60,000 to the employee. Suppose they have this scenario in their company. I don't know what scenarios they have, but yeah, suppose this is a scenario in some particular service-based company is referring to. So here he will be confused that okay, the data is null, the salary is null. So what I need to put here in the client salary? Then the developer will go to the business analyst, and then he will tell that okay, in this data I don't have the salary value for Pragya for this employee. What I need to do in that case? I need to present this data to the client. So what I need to mention it here. Then he will see that okay, what you do, you replace this null with 50,000. Okay, but don't replace in the actual table. Okay, so this null will come even in the client salary. So what it is saying that but don't replace in the original table. So this table employee will there it will be present null only, but as of now, like to show the client, you can mention 50,000. Okay, so 50,000 will be displayed here. So how you can display that 50,000 in this case, or how the developer will do that? Because here it is null, here again it will come null, because null multiplied by 2 will be null only. Okay, but in the client salary, in the like whatever data the organization or the service based company wants to show to the client, there he wants that okay, 50,000 should be mentioned here in this column, in the client salary column. Not here, it should be here. So for that we have concept of NVL. What is this NVL? So NVL is nothing but null value logic. Okay, so what it will do, wherever null is present, it will replace that value, replace the null with some particular value. Wherever null will be present, once you are writing NVL in your query, so wherever null will be present, there it will replace that value, replace those data with some particular value what you want to be replaced with. So here you want to replace this, it will be written like this, like NVL. It will work on which column? Salary. You want to replace the salary column. And there you are mentioning 50,000 as client salary. So now this null, like, see, when you are writing this salary column, like salary inside NVL, then it will not do anything with other data. It will just check that if null is present or not. Okay, if null is present, then it will replace that data with some 550,000. Okay, But if it is not present, then it will not replace any value. Why? Because this NVL is like null value logic. It will just search for null. If null is present, then replace, or else leave it as it is. Let's see. So let's write the query. Okay. I want ID, name, department. Yeah, everything displayed. Fine. I'll mention ID, name, department, and then NVL of salary, and wherever null is present, just replace it with 50,000 as client salary. Have I explained as? In any of the lectures, have I just explained as, or what is this as used for? Okay, I think I'm not covered. Okay, so this as is nothing but it is used to give the alias. So if you have some particular column with some name, salary, or any name, and you want this salary column to be displayed with some other name. Okay, let's say, let's write it here. Okay, you have this ID column, but you want this ID column to be displayed as employee ID. So what it will do, it will just write replace this ID with employee ID, but it will not do any changes in the original table. It will only do in the output. Even if you'll see the original table, there it will be ID present. See, right? But just for displaying purpose, you can mention anything. In there, like in some scenarios, we get such requirements that there we can't show the actual table name or actual column name to the client or to the stakeholders, to anyone. Like if there are such requirements, then we use the concept of as. Okay. So suppose I want this to be displayed something like as client salary. Then I will execute this, see what it will do. See, this Prakya record has been changed to 50,000. Only I will show you. Right? See. And this column is client salary, where Pragya null has been replaced with 50,000. I have not done any calculation in these data. We can do that later. So I was explaining the null concept. So yeah, we can even multiply these salary data with 2 into salary, and then it will be converted to like 1 lakh, whatever I was explaining here. Okay, for now I'm just considering about or just explaining the null concept. So let's try to understand that. Okay, so this null has been replaced with 50,000. Okay, any question on this topic?
No questions.
Okay. Hope it is clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Fine. So you can do only like whenever you want to change the value or you want to replace the null value with some particular value, then you can mention something like this. But if in your data, suppose you do not have null value, then even then this NVL will not give you any error. Okay, let's do, okay, let's drop this table. Okay, fine. 1 second. And then I will just remove this Pragya thing, null record, and I will show you the concept of, or like the scenarios of NVL. Okay, now we do not have any values or any records with null. See, we have 7 records present. I've deleted Pragya record. Fine, and we do not have anything with null value. Now let's execute this query. ID name department NVL. It will not give you any error. See, it is not giving any error, right? It will search for null value, but if null is not there, it will just display the same value. Just like what it will do, it will just because you have mentioned as client salary, so it will replace the salary column with client salary. But these changes will not be there in the original table. Only for displaying purpose, it will display these things. So you can give alias like as I was explaining as keyword. So as is used to the purpose of as is alias. Okay. So you can give any name to a particular column. Like here I was telling that you can mention employee ID. For name column, you can mention employee name. Okay. So these things, so once you'll execute, see, you'll see that this ID name has been converted to employee ID, employee name, right? So as is used for this purpose. Even if you're not writing as, then by default also it will work, but it is recommended to use as, because else people will get confused or the developer will get confused when you have like thousands or yeah different lines of codes. See, let's see. I'm just removing as, then also it will work. Right? See. But it is always recommended to write as. The same way we were when we were not writing as, sorry, ascending, then also it was working because by default it was understanding that okay, user wants me to order based on ascending order. But for descending, you need to mention DESC. The same way, this as is working here. But yeah, it's recommended to write as here. Fine. We have covered these topics today. Okay. Like we have seen some scenarios of order by case, then we have covered OR, and then we have seen difference between zero, blank, and null. Distinct we have covered, NVL we have covered, alias we have covered, count I'll be covering in the next class. Okay, and then we'll move forward with group by having these things. The duplicate, what we are discussing, post explaining this count group by having, I will go to this duplicate thing. Okay, any questions in today's class or any questions? Okay, have you completed the assignment I've shared over the
No,
chat?
today, end of the day, I will complete and share by tomorrow.
Okay, fine. It is not necessary to share, but yeah, if you are getting, if you are facing any issues in any of the questions, then we'll discuss those questions in the class. Okay?
We should do practically or like we should write on the paper.
No, you can practice in this SQL Live SQL platform, right? Just sign up on this platform and then log in and then create those table. So I mentioned that table DDL as well. Like this create table and all is mentioned over the assignment. I just need you can create the table and then you can write the query and just
Okay.
see if you're getting the correct result or not.
Okay.
Okay. So once you try those questions, if you face any issues in any of the questions, then let us know in next session. We'll cover those topics first, cover those questions first, and then we'll move to next topic.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, I will stop sharing my screen. Stop the recording.